Hello, this is Linda Vetros Nichols, evolutionaryhealer.com, and I have with me the most amazing person, Mali Phonpadith. Welcome, Mali.
Hi, thank you for having me, Linda.
You're so welcome. And you have the most amazing story of transformation, starting out in the United States as a refugee and not speaking English, I assume. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so why don't you tell us more about that?
Right. Well, we came here, my family and I, when I was 5 years old, having escaped our war-torn country of Laos, and we lived in the refugee camps in Thailand for a little less than a year before a church in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., sponsored our entire family to come here. So it was definitely a journey. My childhood was filled with a lot of fear. It was filled with a lot of racism, poverty, you name it. And there was an inner sense that I needed to work really hard in life so that my family did not have to continue this path. And that's really what my journey has been about, is making sure that the decisions I made were safe, the decisions I made were smart. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s, mid 30s, that I realized, wow, not everything in life has to be about fear. It can be about
Mm.
love and abundance. And really, that's where I am now in my life. I've made some decisions to start my own business. I work with a lot of individuals as well as small business owners and helping them uncover their path to freedom, a different
Mm-hmm.
definition of freedom. And really, that's what we do at the SOAR Community Network, is help people gift their talents and share it with the world.
Very cool. Yeah, and you have a dynamic background to be able to do this, um, and helping other businesses. So that's incredible. So thank you for the work that you're doing out there.
Thank you.
Okay, so take a stand, make a statement. SOAR. What does SOAR stand for? Do you have a breakdown of that?
Yes, actually, it was a 2 year journey for me to uncover what it was that I was doing with my own life to soar in the world. And what it came down to was four different exercises or experiences that I had to go through. And now this is what I gift to my clients. SOAR stands for see, own, articulate, and release. First, you must see your gifts and talents, own them to be uniquely yours, then articulate that in a way that people really can resonate with it, and then be able to release it and share it, because it's no good really hiding your gifts and talents behind closed doors. So that's really what SOAR stands for.
Oh, I love it. And you have a whole community network with it too. That's awesome. All right. So do it with your tribe. What's that all about? What do you mean by tribe?
What I've learned most in life, especially as I became an adult, is that I don't have to do anything by myself. You know, in Lao, my parents and my grandmother taught me that the tribe, the whole village raised the family together, and it's the mentality that I would really like to inspire all of us in the business community as well as in life, to kind of bring that sense of unity back into the world and into the world of business as well. So do it with your tribe really is my own personal uncovery, that anything that I want out of life, anything that I want to explore or accomplish, I cannot do it by myself. We need friends, we need other experts, we need coaches, we need mentors, we need consumers, we need followers, we need fans. And so really do it with your tribe is first building it. Actually, no, number one, first recognizing we need support and help, and then building the tribe, and then inspiring that tribe to really understand what your core values are.
Wonderful. And that's what I've been doing with these interviews. I'm finding my tribe. And before that it was like, what do I want to do? What makes me the happiest? And it was like I was at a point of complete shift and I really didn't know. So I just threw it to the wind and just started doing what made my heart sing, and that's what's happening with these interviews. So this is so cool. All right.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's really fun. Okay, so overview, create a tribe, connect at the heart level, and give love freely. So you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about what we're going to be learning from you today, Molly?
Absolutely. Well, we touched upon creating a tribe and the importance of that and what the motivating factor behind that was. Connect at the heart level is something that I think as humans, it's intuitive to do, but in the professional world or in the world of business, a lot of us have not always been trained to connect at the heart level or to give permission that that's normal or safe or okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
really want to inspire my clients when they're working with their teams to really
Mm-hmm.
message from the heart, to give them a sense of truly what their unique proposition is. But it really comes deeper than just how do we make money? How do we sell our products? But what
Mm-hmm.
are our products and services really going to do to shift and change our communities in the world? So connecting the heart level is really about that, and covering what really matters and being able to express that openly from a marketing and messaging standpoint, obviously in the business world. And then give love freely, to me, that's similar to that tribal village mentality that I talked to you about. We give freely because without expecting anything in return. Just like we give to our consumers what we're passionate about, we share what we want to change in the world, and we pull and inspire versus push anything down anyone's throat. When we give freely, we allow the universe to flow back into our lives. We'll attract the right people. We'll attract the right customers and consumers. And that's what I mean. If we just authentically show up in the world, and that's harder than one really thinks, because showing up authentically means there's a lot of years of uncovering who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
then being able to open up and give that freely.
Yeah. Oh, I like that analogy with give love freely, because really the number one love is the love that we have for ourselves. That's the number one most powerful love. You must, no matter what's going on outside or who loves you from the outside, and until you tap into that love on the inside, you can't give abundantly. That's for sure. And then abundance can't come back to you either.
I would agree.
All right. So create a tribe. Listen and pay attention. Tell us more about that.
One of the most important attributes that one can have as a leader is to not only be able to express yourself openly and authentically, but listen and help others truly hear themselves and inspire them by showing up, by being a good listener, by being an active listener, um, to show that you care about their journey and their path. And that's really when the tribe actually can form, right? When that person feels heard, important, loved, even at that level. That's really what I mean by listen and pay attention. Not just listen because you're getting something out of it, but listen
Right.
because you want to be present with that person to see how you really can connect at a deeper level, to find the commonalities and the core values that might kind of come up from the surface. And that's really where you move forward from. You move forward with that connection that you have. And you won't be able to find it if you don't listen and you don't pay attention intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And it again starts with you. Listen to yourself, pay attention to yourself, know your core values so you know what the core values of others, because you don't have to have the exact same top three core values with someone else. They may have complementary core values to your three top values or something like that. Do you agree with that?
Exactly, absolutely. And I think that it shouldn't be that you have the exact same core values, because that's what makes life interesting. You
Yeah.
can try with others that are like-minded, but they don't necessarily have to be absolutely like you. That would be a very boring tribe.
It would indeed. The coolest thing about the Native Americans is, they didn't originally fight. They all came together in ceremony, like, certain ones even like for 2 months straight, all the nations coming together. So, yeah, really the whole world is going back to the original paradigm, the indigenous ways, and it's a very beautiful thing. I love being in this major shift we're in right now. Okay, so you were saying show up for yourself, and then show up for others. So tell us more about your teachings on showing up.
Showing up is really about asking the question, what makes me uncomfortable, and doing it anyway. I think
Wow.
showing up is when someone asked you to do something differently, or to say something a different way, or to act a different way. And instead of being on the defensive immediately, because we have a tendency to do that, you know, we're humans and we have ego and we think that our way is the right way sometimes. And
Right.
showing up just means, hey, if something makes me feel a little uncomfortable, instead of conjuring up all these negative emotions, how do we pause and say, wow, why am I feeling uncomfortable? And how might I be able to experience and take this adventure and step up to the challenge of this uncomfortable feeling and try it? Try it
Yeah.
anyway. Say it differently. Listen differently.
Mm-hmm.
Do a different kind of project, test, pilot. So show up as really being curious and not necessarily always automatically saying, no, it's not for me. But
Right.
saying, maybe, let's explore. That's what I mean by showing up.
Yeah, I like that. It's almost like stepping into the fear and reframing and just lots of mindset, right?
Yeah, it is definitely all mindset, and it's something that we all go through. You know, being a teacher, a coach is very interesting because it's not about being better or knowing everything. It's about having the experience to tap into a place where we can have empathy and guide each other. And that's really important because when you say show up for yourself and then help others show up, it truly is that way. First, I have to learn how to do that. I have to have the courage to be curious and to try something new before I can ask someone else to do it. Because now I have evidence to show that it could be a positive thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked with a coach who always split tested. So she'd, put something together, see how that went. Then she'd put something together, ratchet up a notch, tweak it a little bit, and see how that went. And she was constantly split testing and then going with the one that was making the most sense. And I mean, she liked both projects, but that was her, then she was split testing to see if she was hitting it right as far as what others were saying that they needed. And she wouldn't create a program until she sold it. She would sell the program and then she would create it each week with the participants. And it was so powerful because it was really being driven by the consumer, if you will, the coaching clients.
Yeah, it's real time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, doke. So share vulnerabilities. Yeah, you've touched on that a bit. Do you have a story of sharing a vulnerability of yours, or do you have a story from a client?
I think sharing vulnerabilities is really the path that I'm taking right now. Being able to go out into the world and say that we help others soar in the marketplace and message from heart, it's a bit scary, when you come from the business world where everything is about profit and loss statements, and not that that's not important, it's actually critical to run a business. But there's the other side of business that I think is really now starting to show up in the world. But to be out there and claiming that it's a part of our mission statement is quite scary and courageous, and it takes a lot of vulnerability to put yourself out there in a way that really opens yourself up for criticism. Sharing your vulnerabilities, but my vulnerability really is about my life journey. I used to never talk about it. Being a child refugee of war and being an immigrant and being poor growing up, I mean, it's something that when you were younger, you don't want anyone to know that. And as you get older, you realize our story is the gift we get to give. And that's really being vulnerable to show up and share the story. And then I realized, wow, the tribe out there, the SOAR Community Network, is attracted to this because they have stories like mine. And they weren't given permission before to openly share with their heart and say that this matters and this can change people's lives when we show up and tell the truth of our own story. So being vulnerable is really having the courage to state what really is instead of what you believe others want to hear or what you ought to be.
Yeah, well put, Mommy. Well put. Cool. Thank you. Okay, so connect at the heart level. We've been talking about that, and I'm really big on that. I'm even big on heart-to-heart hugs, left cheek, left cheek. That's what people kind of remember about my husband and I think. Right? Okay, so when we connect at the heart level, it's about true intentions, which we've kind of been addressing. Is there more you'd like to say about any of that?
No, I just think be mindful is the most important thing when you connect at the heart. What are the motivations behind connecting at the heart? Is it really because you want to show up and really connect with that person, or do you have other intentions behind, showing up vulnerably? Do you want something out of the experience? And of course, in human love, we all do. We all want to connect and feel like we're being heard, but also hope that others feel heard as well. But really, truly thinking about what is the goal for building relationships for me? Is it to enrich my life, or is it some type of net that I want that's more materialistic? And then challenge ourselves to really value that, honor where we are, know it, but truly ask ourselves, what do we really want out of relationships? And I think that will help us to get deeper into our true intentions for building them, and building them from a space that's sacred and loving and kind versus a need or a want to get somewhere, but to really focus on being here.
Right, and being in service to others. I love it. But again, being in service to yourself. And lack mentality is like, I need and I have to. So I help people get that kind of cleared out. And yet it's really important at that next level and I used this at a psychiatric day treatment center with little kids. It was like, and they were violent. What do you need? What do you want? And how can I help you? And I think that's really important for us to be saying to ourselves after we get out of sort of the lack language and work on that mindset. Then it is tapping in. What do you need? What do you want? And how can you help you? How can I help you? I love it. Very cool. And then you talked about that kind of raw openness as well. Anything you'd like to add about that?
No, I just love having conversations like you and I are having. We really talk about what matters to us. And even at the first meeting, I think that that's important. Some people might get turned off because they're not used to that, or it makes them uncomfortable. And for those that do feel uncomfortable, I say, stay with it. Why are you uncomfortable? Someone is showing up and sharing their heart with you. Why is it uncomfortable? How does it make you feel, and what's going on inside of you that's causing this? There's always room to learn about ourselves when we have these awkward moments or this hesitation or uncomfortable feelings. So raw openness for me is when I meet someone, I love being able to not talk about the superficial stuff. I want to learn about your families. I want to learn about what motivates you, what inspires you to get up every morning. That's what I mean, just showing up that way instead of working up to it. And that's okay too. I mean, just personalities are different. But how I show up in the world is the first time I meet you, the goal for me is that we fall in love with each other at a deeper level.
Absolutely. And when you're reaching out to someone and asking about them, they begin to actually fall in love with you, because people just don't do that much. And It's happening more and more, and that's great. It's a great energy shift we're all going through. But yeah, so if you want to do this love thing with somebody, be more interested in them, talk more about them than you do yourself. Find out more about them than they even find out about you. And even if it doesn't reciprocate with that person, it will with somebody else. It doesn't matter who found out the most about who. It just is like everybody doing their piece, kind of like on the airplane. Take care of yourself first, then the person next to you, then the person on the other side of you. And if somebody in front of you needs some help, great. Otherwise, let the people in front of you take care of that person too, and then check in with the people behind, and then that's it. You don't have to save the whole plane. If we're all doing our piece, our inner work, and taking care of ourselves so that we have more for others, the whole plane survives. Make sense?
Absolutely. Well, I love what Maya Angelou always says. Her famous quote is that people remember how you made them feel. And I think that is so critical. When you meet someone, you have an intuitive sense about them from an energy level, from a cosmic level, from a chemical level for those scientist-brained people out there. And I think it's important for us to know that we make those decisions immediately based on how that person makes us feel, based on their energy level. You walk into a room and wow, this person is very intriguing and they're filled with light, and I'd like to be close to that person. Or somebody else might be in a difficult time in their lives, and they might have some darkness or heaviness around them, and you sense it, and you either choose to engage, or you feel that and you say, probably not going to engage with this person right now, but it's always there. It's always
Yeah,
there. So,
I love it.
be mindful of how you're making others feel if this is
Mm-hmm.
happening, and you're judging, how other people are making you feel. It's happening because it's human.
Yeah, absolutely. And when someone's pointing a finger at you, just remember there's three more pointing back at themselves. They're just not at a level of awareness for it too. And there's even just that predator level where humans just aren't nice to another human because they haven't worked through a victim predator issue, and now they've become the predator. And it's like, yeah, just let go that till that person gets kind of through that. And if they're coming to you for help with that in that level you're working with, well, great. Otherwise, pass them on to somebody that who does work with that piece. So very cool. So invite others into your life, your community. Tell us more about invite others.
I think give permission for others to know that you're available to share, to be vulnerable with them, to do projects together, to collaborate. I think we live in a very huge world that has now become smaller and smaller, and it's saturated because we have the internet now. We can speak to anyone at any time in the world. And inviting others for me is really this, again, the tribal, because that's our theme today, is really this tribal building, is to be able to show up, to invite others to feel safe with you, to feel that they can belong here too, and that you also want them to be a part of your life, of your community, of the work that you do. I've learned as an adult that for me, there's no more sense of competition at all in my world. It gives me a sense of freedom. As I've transformed and found myself and gotten deeper and I continue to learn, for me, it's all about collaboration, and it's no longer about competition. We're too unique and too different and too special to try and compete. And when you invite others, you invite other people who might even be in your industry doing exactly what you do, and say, hey, how do we brainstorm on ways to do something better together?
Yeah. Cool. I love it. All right. So give love freely. Give it willingly, with no conditions, and do your best. All right. Tell us more about that.
It's interesting because the bullets are kind of almost contradictory in a way. We say give it willingly and no conditions. That kind of makes sense, right? If you're going to give it willingly, do your best not to put conditions on it. But I put do your best because we are all human. And there's no such thing unless you truly become enlightened as no conditions. We're built to create conditions. We as human beings have fear and always a need to survive. So there's always going to be that default button in us. So that's why I put in there, do your best to give it willingly with no conditions. Be aware of when you're putting and placing conditions on your rewards or how you should show up in the world, and what the give and take conversation you're having inside your head. Well, if I give this, then what do I get, right?
Got it.
To be aware of that and say, wait a minute, am I really giving freely right now if I'm putting conditions on this? So it's more, this give love freely is not something that is easy for us to do. And so I want to really make sure that people are clear. Just because I stated that was a critical and important thing to do doesn't mean it comes easily. So it's an exercise and a practice for us to give love freely, give it willingly as best we know how, learn how to evolve and get better at it over time, try and place no conditions on it, and just do your best, because we're not always going to get it right.
Yeah, for sure. And what sort of comes almost in my mind before what you're talking about is that, unconditional love for self, and knowing what your personal boundaries are, what you'll accept, what you won't accept, and take a mindful look at them. Are you being rigid out of fear or whatever, but healthy boundaries, so that when you are in the, just being open and not setting up all these conditions, you're in a safe place, if you will, knowing what your boundaries are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay, very cool. All right, anything else you'd like to say about Give Love Freely?
No, just practice.
I
Practice
know,
it.
right?
Practice it every day.
That's the
Practice it
bottom.
with those that in the past may have even made you feel uncomfortable. They're the most challenging but fun, adventurous exercises you can do. And at the end of the day, it's really gifting yourself a sense of freedom,
Yep.
and that's what we really ultimately seek in this life,
Mhm.
in this world, is a sense of peace and freedom to be exactly who we are in the world. I mean, there's not what we should be, what we ought to be, but who we just are. And that
Mhm.
changes every day. So it's
Right.
really about seeking our own sense of freedom. And by doing that, we gift it to others because we get to be the example.
Love it. Very cool. Okay, and you have this wonderful gift, Nature's Affirmations. You've put together a photographic e-journal. How cool is that? Did you do the photography too?
Yes, what I did was I went through all of the years of travel since I was in my teenage years, and that was many,
Yeah.
many years ago, trust me. And I picked out all the different beautiful photos of landscapes of nature through my own personal travels and created my personal affirmations as well, positive affirmations that continue to help me go through this path in life in the most positive, optimistic way possible, because it's not as easy to do. We can say it, but we have to practice it, and we have to, take one step at a time every day. And so these positive affirmations have really helped to transform my life and to make me the person that I am today, to be an overflow and to gift it. And so it really is a journal where there are spaces in this ebook that you can actually create your own, but every
Oh,
page has a photo, and every page also has a sample of my own personal affirmations to help guide you.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Very
You're very
generous.
welcome.
I love it. All right. Yeah, that taking action, the word I tend to use is embody. It's like bring it into the body and take the action. What's up in the head? We think we know, and this is what we've learned, and this is who we are. And it's like until it hits the body, it so isn't. Do you agree?
Yes, yes. And I say that also with all of us do that differently. We manifest that differently. But even when I write my poetry, I can do it through typing. But when it really, really comes through me is when I use the pen and paper and allow it to move from here through my body onto paper and release it into the universe. So, and you have to really experience it through your body for it
Yeah.
to really manifest the way that it can really inspire the universe to change and shift. I would
Wow.
absolutely recommend finding whatever way it is for you to use your body to express yourself, your authentic self.
Yeah, I love it. Very cool. Well, thank you again, Molly. It's so wonderful to have you.
Thank you. You honor me with allowing me to share this. So I appreciate you so
Oh,
much, Linda.
and I you. Thanks again. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.